Hello, welcome back to the Fun House.
Hey guys,
This is still Matt.
this is still Katie, and this is still Now Playing with Matt-n-Katy. For those of you who know who we are and are used to visiting our channel, thank you. We love your subscription. I guess that's the word I'm looking for. If you're new to the channel, welcome aboard. Katie and I are a very, very married couple.
You should have heard some conversations earlier today.
We're a very married couple who love watching movies, and we love talking about those movies. So welcome aboard this evening. This is one of our, we call them what she missed or what he missed.
One she missed. One
Yeah,
missed.
this is a movie that I've already seen. Katie hadn't seen it yet, and I had to have her watch this one. So you're getting a clean, right from the end of the movie review from her. Me, I've had a little bit more time for it to stew, so there is that. I've got a cat. No.
We got a kitty cat trying to
No.
join the fun here.
So this evening we watched Talk to Me. This is a movie that came out from the glorious A24 studios. Came out in I think they said 2023. I'm cheating. I've got Katie's phone here.
It is fairly new because I've just been seeing some trailers for it, so I don't know if it's on Prime, yes?
We watched it on Prime through our Paramount subscription, but you are able to rent it on any of. No, it came out in 2023. I think it's getting a little bit of a resurgence.
It must be because I've never heard of it until this last maybe 3 weeks.
It stars a bunch of people you probably won't recognize.
They're all Australian.
Maybe Miranda Otto was in it. If you've seen Lord of the Rings and you know who Miranda Otto is.
Well, you might not, but she was
Sophie Wilde, Joe Bird. The movie follows Mia, who has just gone through a tragic family change thing.
Well, 2 years before, but
And
she's still reeling.
Her friends have come up with this very questionable new thing to do fun at the parties. And basically, I can tell you this much. It's an embalmed hand that allows you to speak to the dead. So they do this as a party trick. And as you can imagine, that's not a good idea. Mia's best friend's little brother does the trick and all hell breaks loose. And that's all I'm going to tell you from here on out. Katie, since this was your first time seeing it, I'm going to let you kick this off. What did you think of Talk to Me?
This was like a Ouija board on crack. Ouija board meets The Exorcist.
Mm-hmm.
You have to suspend a little disbelief just because from the beginning, this hand has traveled among groups of people. And because it's the modern age, there are videos of these moments when the game begins. And there are physical transformations that take place among the players that would be enough to scare most normal people away from ever doing it. But if you can get beyond that, and, kids are dumb, so it's possible. We were all there. We should all have been, unalived by now because of how stupid we were as teenagers. If you get beyond that, to follow that basic conceit of the movie, it's pretty brilliant. The makeup effects were outstanding, just start to finish. It was genuinely creepy. There were a couple times I thought I knew something was going to turn out a certain way and I was wrong. The very end, I did kind of know, but they kind of lead you there, but it's still not a disappointing ending. Mm-hmm. It's not a letdown at all. Mm-hmm. It's kind of okay, here we go. It thankfully is a horror movie that actually had a very satisfying ending because so many of them don't. I thought it was really, really excellent. My only real issue was at the very beginning, they start out with a party scene, and the music of the party is so loud that I was having a really hard time figuring out what anybody was saying.
I think that was intentional, though.
Probably. I mean, you do get that when you're at a party, but there was a couple times when I had that issue. Part of it was just the accents. I don't typically have a problem with Australian accent, but when you add loud music and mumbling and people turned away, there was in the beginning, but that did resolve itself, and that honestly was my only issue with the entire thing. Yeah, I thought it was pretty brilliant.
I loved it. I mean, I watched this a few weeks ago, and I was up late. Katie was asleep, so I was like, screw it, I'm going to watch it. And even my second time through, this time I was able to kind of pay attention to some other things. I will agree with you. The sound design is a little rough in some parts, but I do believe that first part was to throw you off. I don't think they want you thinking, oh, I know where this is going. So I think they did that on purpose.
And they fooled me. Because when the way they started out, I thought it was I thought it was going to end up being a character that we see later.
Right. Get you.
But it wasn't.
Yeah.
So that was nice that what I thought was going to be kind of a flashback or a foreshadow wasn't.
Yeah. Yeah, I loved it because this is the kind of like modern horror film I like, because it uses all of the tropes and the things that we're used to seeing, but in some cases they flip them over. In other cases they use them, but it's in a way that's not like carbon copy of what we've already seen before. The story, this is a really tight script. And this is something, and anybody who's been watching this knows, the one thing that drives me nuts is horror films usually rush the character development. But and this movie proves it, and a lot of the A24 studio horror movies prove it, you can develop the character in a quick amount of time right in the beginning of the film. You can give us enough to care about these characters. And it's all done in the way you write your script. If you just don't rush through all that, you've got me there with these characters. Even though these characters throughout this movie make stupid decisions, I still was on the edge of my seat. I hated the main character. I hated this chick, but I still was on the edge of my seat with everything that was going on.
And the acting was terrific across the board.
All the way through.
There's always that, one dickhead kid that you hate that for some reason is like the Regina George of the universe, where everybody follows them around anyway. And you're like, why would you hang out with this person for 14 seconds in a row? They're awful.
Yeah.
And then she was we never really figured out why a lot of people didn't really like the main character, but there was a lot of layers going on with. Yeah.
That was one of those things, because I remember first watching it, I was thinking, why do they all? But I was okay with that.
Yeah.
It wasn't enough. That question only hung in my mind, like maybe during that first party.
That's a real thing. You have those people that, sometimes they show up at the party and you're like, ugh.
Yeah.
And you sometimes can't even tell yourself why you don't like them. So and it was all. I'm automatically more inclined to think I'm going to get a good experience coming in as soon as I see A24 on the screen. I always kind of relax a little bit and go, okay, this is not going to be awful. There's going to be something about this that I really, really like, even if as a whole I'm not super fan of it. But yeah, and I don't feel like there were any jump scares in this. There
really weren't.
There were startling moments, but they weren't, it wasn't that typical, oh, now we're going to swell the music and scare you. None of that.
They were every scene in this movie was well crafted and meticulously put together, so that there really wasn't any of those jump scare moments, but there were plenty of moments where your skin crawls.
A lot of
my favorite scene, one of my favorite scenes takes place later in the film, where we see the effects of what's happening to one of the characters. And it was a quick, dark, maybe not even a minute scene, but it was enough to put me there. And I was like, oh my God, this poor person, I just love this movie from beginning to end. It's definitely going to be added to my collection at some point. And it's definitely one that I would tell people to watch. I will tell you, some of these well-crafted scenes could be disturbing. These could trigger some people.
For sure. And there are some mental health issues that come into play that may be a problem for some
maybe a
people.
trigger. So tread lightly. I would, if that's something that triggers you, if self-violence, if
you
things
have
like
suffered
that,
a recent loss, maybe give this one a pass for a while, because
do the research, read about the movie, figure out.
It's a possibility for what may come after kind of thing. So just be careful with that if you're struggling.
Yeah,
definitely. And I'm
not
sure. It's weird to say this. I'm not sure I would watch it again, because I really did. It was so good, but it was kind of like, I don't really know how to express this, because it's not remotely the same kind of movie or vibe or anything, but it's kind of the same reaction I had to Joker, because I loved Joker, but I don't think I can ever watch it again. This one is not the same level as that. This one just feels like, now that I know the story, it doesn't feel like one that I would go back and go, oh, I missed that the first time. Oh, I feel like they did an excellent job of giving me everything I needed the first time through.
I can tell you, having seen it twice now, I didn't miss anything the first time around, because when I do watch a movie like this again, I'm looking for, there's a ghost in that corner I didn't notice, or look at that shadow.
Did you see that?
There was none of that. And I think it's because, like I said, I think every scene in this movie was well crafted for a reason.
There was no cheating.
Yeah. But I did enjoy it. And watching it again today, I was into it just as much and I only watched it like maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago. Now, give it another year and we'll see if it's one that I'm like, ooh, maybe I'll watch that one again. But yeah, I just really like this movie, guys. This was really well done. Really well done. A24 knocked it out of the park again. I don't know what they're feeding their people over there, but they need to spread it out, because
I think they're just very picky. And I think they don't move forward with projects unless it's something solid.
Yeah.
I don't think they have ever, and I hope never will, throw out one of those movies that we've talked about where somebody went, oh, look at this cool effect I figured out how to do. Awesome. Let's make a movie around that. And it's just a mess.
Maybe we need to start, maybe A24 just needs to have its own category for us as reviews, because we've missed a lot of them over the past couple years. Yeah. And there's a lot that I like. Men, I really want to watch Men. There's a bunch that I want to watch. So maybe I just need to have in the YouTube, we'll have these review, and then A24 reviews. Who knows?
It's funny.
So did you have any final thoughts on this one?
My final thoughts are... believe what you see the first time. If you see something that looks like, oh, that's maybe not a great idea, don't do that thing. We've all done the stupid thing, especially as teenagers and young kids. Like I said, it's a miracle we're all still walking around, because we were stupid.
Very much.
We've talked about this, how many stupid things we did that went, oh my God.
How am I
as an
alive?
Adult, I would be screaming, stop, what are you doing? Don't do those things, because they're pretty much never going to lead to anything good.
Nope.
If something seems a little impossible in its...
Spit it out, baby.
I don't want to say too good to be true, because the things that were being seen in this were not visually good things. It was a... not heaven and angels and sweet cherubs coming. So just pay attention. And when things are like, that's not maybe the best, just stay away from those things. Get a hobby. What are your final thoughts? Yeah, get new friends.
My final thought is just a plea to all of the horror movie people out there. Just give us some character.
And give us a good story.
Just don't rush through it. Let us get to know these people you're going to try to kill off in your movies, so that we give a crap about them and we're invested in the story.
And know when your story ends.
Yeah.
End your story at the end. Don't go beyond that, because that's where you lose us. Just give us a good story. We all grew up on Grimm's fairy tales and Once Upon a Time. We're with you. Just end it when it should end. That's all.
So there you go. Talk to Me. It's now streaming on Paramount Plus. I think that was the one we watched it on. We watched it through Paramount Plus on Prime, but it's rental. You can rent it. I know it's out there for sale, so Talk to Me, definitely thumbs up. We think you guys should watch it. We loved it. Other than that, we're going to let you guys go, and we'll see you next time. Bye now.
Bye.